President Obama and Democrats calling this whole Republican idea a big old transfer of wealth from the rich to the poor. That everyone's going to be hurt by this, but the rich all of a sudden get everything. So in reverse. Republican strategist Ashley Hayek and the Wall Street Journal's Shelby Holliday. Shelby, what do you make of that? The former president, inserting himself in this debate? I can understand this was his signature piece of legislation, and he sees it potentially falling apart. But is that an overstatement?
Well, you hear the former president and also a lot of Democrats in Congress accusing this bill of transferring wealth, pulling the rug out from people who need health care the most. And, you know, Republicans have to come out and say, well, you created the transfer of wealth in the first place. We are just trying to right a wrong that was created by the Democrats. And it is true. You know, this new bill, as Jerry was just talking about, repeals taxes that were imposed on the wealthy. It sort of evens the playing field. It phases out the Medicaid expansion. But overall, 9% of Americans, only 9%, say Obamacare is working. So everyone agrees, almost everyone, that the law needs to be fixed. And not just premiums going up, they're not just pointing to drug prices going up, but insurance companies are pulling out of exchanges. More people are relying on subsidies. Fewer people are actually paying that fine, even though they're foregoing health insurance altogether. And the biggest question here is what happens to insurance markets if things stay the way they are. It's not looking pretty, and dozens of counties are at risk of having no insurer in the next year. So everyone agrees it needs to change.
I think you're right on a lot of the key aspects there. Ashley, one of the things that I think Republicans have, I guess, been surprised to discover is that they're getting the blame for the problems with the law the way it is now. And I find that remarkable because whatever you think of the measures they've come up with in the House and the Senate, and whatever problems they may face, none of it has come to law. None of it has come to pass. The problems that are out there, the higher premiums, the costs and all that's a present law phenomenon. So how is it Republicans got tarred with that one?
Have the Republicans not been blamed for anything since the president has been elected? Absolutely not. Are the Democrats going to throw a fit and tantrums to make sure that nothing that the Senate or the House do gets passed? Absolutely. It's a resist movement that we're seeing across the board. This bill is going to sink the Obamacare ship. Of course, he's going to be very unhappy with that. It's going to empower individuals. It's going to give rights to states. And it's going to be probably the biggest shift in entitlements that we've seen since the 1990s.
But it keeps a lot of the Obamacare features in there, right? There are some Republicans, you know, who look at that, Ashley, and say, we fought like crazy for this. It's still big. It's still government. It's still fixed.
It's an imperfect bill, but it's definitely an improvement upon what we have. You know, right now, as she just pointed out, there are so many problems that are basically bankrupting companies, and companies are actually closing down. My own personal doctor left the business because he couldn't operate under these rules. They're going to be offering tax credits. They made sure that pre-existing conditions would be covered, and it's going to be an opportunity for us to pass something that's going to reform and sink the Obamacare ship, as they just said, and move forward with something that's better for our country and the
Shelby,
people.
do you get a sense, though, that if the Republicans fail at this effort, some of them might secretly be happy about it because they'll say, all right, well, we failed, but look what you're left with. It's not going so well, is it?
It wouldn't be pretty if they're happy with that, because at the end of the day, this is about Americans' health insurance. But Obamacare is squarely put on the Democrats' shoulders. You know, it passed without any Republican support. So they do have that argument. And I think that's why you hear President Trump say, look, Democrats, come to the table, work with us on this bill. Please get behind it. Something needs to change. And we have heard some Democrats say, yes, we're willing to work with you, but Republicans say you're not being genuine enough. I actually interviewed Governor Kasich of Ohio the other day, and he said he hasn't seen a good faith effort by either side to come together and meet in the middle.
No,
you know, but the Republicans are getting criticized for doing this too quickly, and I would add that there are incentives for getting this done quickly, because insurance companies have to decide in September whether or not they're participating in exchanges. No, you're right.
The reality is that, you know, everything hits in the fall. Thanks, guys, very, very much.